Welcome to another edition of Profile. My name is Rusty Bray, your host, and I'm sitting here with Dan Wazlewski of Explore Tour Company. Welcome.
Good to be here.
So, every week on Profile, we do a piece on a local business owner. And this week, we have Dan in studio. We're asking him about his tour company and how he got started. So, Dan, you're a man with a van and a lot of wine. Give us some insight, man. How'd you begin?
The origins of ETC, I would describe them as the culmination of my collective skills.
I know you
I
got
turned it
skills.
into an idea, rather a job that I would want to do every day. I have passionate pursuits like everybody,
Don't we
and when
all?
I found the Wine Valley here, I was hooked. And I wanted to be there every day, and combining my interests with my interest in
It's a great
showing
thing.
others what I love got me here. And I love it. The Valley is a very special place, and I'm proud to be here.
For those of us who are not familiar with the area, that is the Willamette Valley in Oregon, just outside of Portland. Famous for its Pinots.
Yes, the famous Pinots of the Willamette Valley. This is what brings people out here. This is what keeps me going back day to day. It is an experience. And these are not Californian Pinots. They're lovely. You take a place like
Most people probably don't know
Cartessa,
the
it's a
difference.
mind-blowing experience, but this is different. All right, this mimics Bordeaux, the regions in France. If you know anything about the valley, both climate, not culture. This is not
Serene.
even Californian culture up here, so be not mistaken. This is very casual, probably the most casual wine region you could go in on the West Coast.
Shorts, t-shirts, all good.
Farmer vintners out this way, and that's what makes it so much fun too.
Pretty
It's
cool.
its own culture, its own flavor profile, and once you dig into it, you just
Yep.
keep going back for more.
All right. I mean, that sounds wonderful. Now tell us about like a day out on tour. What do you do? What does the average group do? What makes you special and stand out? Why do people pick your company?
I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's my background turned into a tour company. I started off
So
in
the
fine dining,
skills.
went to FCI in New York, worked fine dining all over the city, high profile guests, wonderful experience, worked under wonderful chefs. I wanted to branch out on my
India
own.
has
I went
never
very
cooked for
casual with the
me.
idea, opened a restaurant called Abos on the Hill in Boulder. Did
Is
pizza and
was
like
iconic.
focused on beer and things like that there. Um,
Your tap line was
but I
amazing.
was able to play to kind of every audience, fine dining, very casual in a college setting, and everybody in between. So when people go out on tour, I provide them with an experience. We go out there, we explore, we learn to taste, we learn about ourselves, our palate, and we have a great time. It could be a bachelorette group, it could be a wedding photo shoot, it could just be a person booking a tour to
Thing.
go collect. Everybody and anybody. I've had kids along with me, on tour where they do a juice tasting everywhere we go. So it plays to all levels. And we do concierge experience. So, if you're out and about with us, we'll book your dining. And because of my background, I'll do your catering if you want.
It's a lot of
Provide lovely
service.
platters and do pairings, knowing what you're going to have ahead.
So
Uh,
they go together.
and the
That's awesome.
relationships are there. I know people all over the valley. They're wonderful. And it gives
And they
you
know you.
insights and awesome little secrets to show people all the time. So you give them something that nobody else can provide.
Okay, so how many wineries do you visit in a day? What's typical?
That's something you usually discuss with the group.
And you
I've
can
had
take up to 12
people that
people.
are ambitious start off their day thinking they're going to get through 5 wineries still standing. Um, Not usually the case. I would say three. Three is a really good number because that allows you to spend enough time at each and enjoy yourself.
So Dan, like many business owners in the area, um, due to COVID, had to shut down his company. Is that right?
Unfortunately, that is correct. Um, my family, believing what we believe, decided to shut down because we were a public tour company. We didn't think it was safe to have people in that kind of a proximity.
I
And the
understand.
valley itself was shut down to a great extent. They were
I
not
heard a lot
allowed
of
by law to
business.
do tastings on premise. And our overhead is great, believe it or not. For like a little company, you have to carry a lot of insurance, a lot of permits, and you have to keep up on that stuff. So we decided to close down for now.
I mean, that is a sad, unfortunate reality of our times. So many people like yourself have been affected by COVID and had to close down, or lost their job. So we keep calling you Dan, the man with the plan, the man with the van. Your story has a silver lining. So tell us what you did after.
Well, I'll start off by saying this. I have a 19-month-old daughter named Pepper Maeve. Love you, sweetheart.
I've actually
And
met her. She's very
I
cute.
wanted to do things with her. I wasn't working during COVID, and day to day, my wife went back to work, and I was a stay-at-home dad. So I had
Kristen,
this
she's a
van
nurse.
sitting
We
there
love our
unused,
nurses.
and props to the Sprinter because it is the Swiss Army knife of vans.
I mean, we see
It's
a
got a
lot of
long
them here in this
history of being
area.
converted into awesome things, and I
And look
mean,
at what the hippies
if you
did with
haven't
it.
seen one on the road from like UPS, FedEx, or
How about
all those
Amazon? Every
companies,
day in
you're
front of
not
my
keeping your
house.
eyes open. They're everywhere. So there's a lot of inspiration out there, and I was inspired to make something out of that van that I could use every day with my daughter.
Should be said that Dan can build ahead of time. I've been to his office. He built it himself. He's got skills. So, where'd you start?
Well, the first thing I did was take 2 rows of seats out of it. It's a passenger van meant for touring. But like I said, Swiss Army knife. So the seats came out,
Ripped
and
them right
I
out.
put pen to paper, and I drew some blueprints to make
You can
mounted
draft
bed.
too?
So
Nice.
like an elevated bed above the seats, that we could use for camping, and then
All
some
right.
shelving under that,
Nice.
and that's about it. Like it's got gobs of space in the middle for
That's
everything
what
and
you
anything you
need. You
could
have a
put in
little
there.
girl.
And we put some curtains up, little simple conversions, couple of lights, and that was it.
So, safe to say you've taken this thing all over the place at this point, right?
Safe to say, yes. We've been east, west, and everywhere in between.
All right. Favorite spot you've been so far?
Definitely have to say Moab, Utah. That was a blast. We had this group campground all to ourselves. My whole family was out there for spring break. It was amazing.
So you call this thing a Swiss Army knife. You put the bed and the conversions in there. Are they permanent, or can you put the seats back and tour again?
No, Rusty, you had it right.
I
Swiss
usually
Army
do.
knife. So that bed is just bolted into the seat mounts and then framed, floating frame, into the van. So it can come right out, seats can go back in. If touring looks good again, we're back on the road.
So until then, what are you doing in the meantime, man with the plan?
I feel Rusty like that was kind of a loaded question.
He asked me for a clip, a recording of this interview. Tell us why.
Well, not knowing what the future holds, time to up my skill set again, so I went back to school. I'm currently enrolled in CTI Chicago, the Adobe program. Um, this is going to become part of my Project 2 presentation. I'm going to add
I'm
clips
honored.
and video to this and put it together as a video. You guys can check it out on my YouTube page.
So from wine touring to video editing, I mean, that's quite the jump.
Oh, it gets worse from there. So I'm combining these skills that I'm taking away from CTI with training in GPR, ground penetrating radar. In fact, I'll
Nice.
be going out with the group called Archaeotech out of Canada to Romania to do some scanning on some Roman ruins there. That's in Transylvania.
Spooky.
So I'm combining these two skills, to launch a whole nother career. And if wine touring picks up again, that would be wonderful too.
So Dan, the man with the plan, the man with the van. It seems like you're on track to do something great once again. I
Thanks,
wish
Rust.
you luck. Thank you for joining us. This is
Pleasure.
Rusty Bray signing off on another segment of Profile. Till next time, signing out. Keep it weird, Portland.